Welcome to Good Games Spawn Point, the show for younger gamers by gamers. I'm Hayes.
And I'm Bajo.
And I am D.A.R.R.E.N.
Sound chipper today, Darren?
Affirmative.
He's been helping me review Ape Escape for the PlayStation Move.
We'll also be taking a look at the tricky puzzler Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet.
And we'll be bringing you another in our series of So You Want to Work in Gaming. And this week it's Sally, who's a sound engineer.
Busy show then. All right, well, I might leave you two to review Ape Escape while I go and eat some toasted sandwiches because I'm really hungry.
I don't think she wants to help us review Ape Escape, Darren.
Oh, she's missing out.
Yeah. No, she's not. All right, Darren, are you ready to review?
Just a moment. Much better.
Well, the first Ape Escape came out over 10 years ago, and it was pretty good. So much so that there's been spin-offs and sequels ever since. The latest is simply called Ape Escape, and it's for the PS3.
Excuse me, Bajo, but it's important to note that Ape Escape PS3 cannot be played with a normal controller. You need to have a PlayStation Move controller, or it simply won't load the game.
Yes, I was getting to that, Darren.
And you also need to have a PlayStation Eye for the Move controller to work.
You finished?
Affirmative.
That's all true. You also need to really enjoy capturing monkeys again and again, and then again, and more again. This Ape Escape is a very simple game. You'll be running around a small selection of levels chasing after Spectre, a white monkey who continues to elude you and your friends. Spectre is the only lead to the location of Grandma, who I think has gone missing.
The cutscenes are animated using traditional Japanese 2D animation. I find them to be quite beautiful. They don't make a lot of sense, but their style is aesthetically pleasing.
At least we can always count on your athletic abilities. Sorry. They were really supposed to come out to the empty field in the back.
Well, this game is on rails, which means you can see lots of the landscape around you, but you can't go into it. It moves you very slowly through these short levels, and it's only when it stops that you're given some movement control. But not much.
I found the parts where you could move actually made the game harder, Bajo. You have to take your finger off the trigger and press X or circle to look left or right. It can be hard to tell when a monkey is sneaking up on you, especially if you're looking in the wrong direction. Those monkeys really wanted my bananas, Bajo.
Hang on a second, Darren. Back it up. Did you just say you found a game hard? I'm going to put that on the internet right now.
No. What I meant was bad design made the game artificially hard.
If they steal too many from you, you'll need to switch gadgets to a slingshot and try and reclaim them, or just pick up new ones. There's also batteries lying about the place which charge up your two special weapons, an electrified banana, and my personal favourite, the vacuum.
I found saving the vacuum until the boss fight at the end made the fight substantially easier, Bajo. In fact, it's so easy you could almost call it an exploit. If you don't have a vacuum at the ready, though, you'll need to use a shoot and scoop strategy to capture the many Spectre clones at the end of each stage until you find the real one.
I really enjoyed the giant gorilla boss battle, Darren, but this game is so short. I think you'll be done with it in about 2 hours, and it doesn't help that it's called a single-player party game.
That's a contradiction in terms.
I know. There are some mini-games, the best of which is a sniping stadium where you're given 3 targets and have to remember which ones to take down. I found it a bit hard to control your zoom with the move, but it was a welcome change to just scooping monkeys all day long. Final thoughts, Darren?
Pro tip. I found swiping gently sideways was the key to victory as opposed to smashing down on monkeys. But as cute as the monkeys are, I think this game is too simple to keep anyone entertained for long. It might be fun for the youngest of younger gamers who are still getting used to playing games, but for everyone else, 4 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Okay, well, we're absolutely going to have to stop the internet, Darren, because for the first time ever, I agree with everything you said. There's just not enough game here, so I'm giving it 3 out of 10 rubber chickens. Right, I'm off to read the news.
Off you go then. Yeah. Bum 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 bum. Now take those old records off the shelf.
Marjo here with the gaming news from around the world. A 10-year-old who uses the handle sci-fi has told the recent DEFCON Hackers Conference how she manipulated mobile farming games in order to speed them up and grow more crops. Sci-Fi discovered that if she advanced the clock on her phone or tablet, she could produce crops faster. Most games can detect clock-based cheating, but Sci-Fi found a loophole that forced the game to play in a way not tested by its developers. The exact details of the game or the hack have not been revealed in order to give the developers time to fix it. A study conducted at England's Essex University has partly answered the question of why are games fun? The theory is that we enjoy games more when we have things in common with the characters we are playing, and that games also let us try out different types of characteristics that we'd like to see within ourselves. Raymond Cox, aka Stallion83, is on a mission to become the first person in the world to have 1 million Gamerscore points. Cox is already the Guinness World Record holder and recently broke the 600,000 point mark. So far, Cox has played over 878 games, earned all the achievements for 510 of them, and unlocked a total of 24,930 achievements. That's quite an achievement. Now, we know that many of you would really like a job making video games when you grow up.
So, with that in mind, we've been busy making a series of stories following people who've done just that.
This week we visit Sally in Brisbane, who's a sound engineer. Fascinating.
Hi, I'm Sally Calloway, Audio and Motion Capture Assistant at Sega Studios Australia. My job is split into two roles. I work full-time for the audio department doing sound design work, where I spend a lot of time in the recording studio. I design sounds and I talk to programmers to help get the best sounds for the game that we're working on. The second part of my job is out at the motion capture studio, helping them set up the motion capture cameras and get the athletes in mocap suits and just have fun out on the set. When I was growing up, I didn't really spend very much time playing computer games. I spent a lot of time taking care of and playing with my 3 younger sisters. When I was in school, I played many instruments. I played flute, French horn and drum kit. Music games quickly became my thing because it wasn't so much about winning or losing or dying or not dying. It was more about the experience and to be able to have fun with something and to be able to succeed no matter how difficult the game was when you were playing it. That was really good, and also having something that was so closely related to all the instruments that I was playing, that just felt really rewarding, being able to carry my skills across into games and to be able to have fun playing them.
I've known Sally since high school, about 9 years now I think it is. We always used to hang out after school together. We did martial arts, we'd hang out on the weekends playing dancing games at the arcade. She always loved music like that, and it's really great to see her doing something that she was always passionate about. I don't ever recall a time at school where I didn't see her with a musical instrument in tow, so it's really good to see her doing something she loves and that she enjoys and that she's actually really good at.
I studied music technology at university and learnt all the technical bits of how to record sound, and then transferred that into how to make sound for games. So the connection is just so strong between the kid that I was growing up and what I'm doing right now. In my average working day, when I'm doing some sound design work, I'll pop over to my computer, and what I'll do is I'll start up a build of the game where all the code compiles to make up a playable version of the game, and then I'll either get straight into some sound design work or I'll go and grab one of the designers and have a chat with them, see what they're kind of thinking.
Let's make the goats sound more monstrous.
More monstrous goats. Well, what we can do is we can change the pitch and take the pitch of the goats down. So, yeah?
Yep.
You reckon that's the way to go?
Yeah, and then maybe add some reverb.
Reverb to the goats. Let's give this a listen first.
That's pretty monstrous, actually.
So taking their opinions about what they want and meshing it with my ideas and kind of like fusing those things together. Between all of my crazy jobs is lunchtime. Sometimes we can just hang out in the office and play fighting games. I used to play them myself, but I got a little bit good and the guys decided that they needed to just beat me all the time because I was too good.
Player 1 wins.
Between all of my music practicing and sound design work, I also do a bit of hip-hop dancing on the side. My favourite style of hip-hop dance is break dancing, and I train that twice a week. But sometimes what I like to do at lunchtime is sneak off by myself to the car park next to my work. and practice some routines out on the street.
Brace yourself, spawnlings, for it's time to take another journey through time, back to one of the greatest moments in gaming history. Who needs a TARDIS when you have the D.A.R.R.E.N cave? Here today, we're going back to the week of August the 26th in 1996. The biggest film at the box office was a space invasion movie called Independence Day. The biggest selling music artist was Alanis Morissette. And our Prime Minister was John Howard. It's also the date that Crash Bandicoot burst onto our PlayStation 1s for the very first time. Originally developed by Naughty Dog, the team behind the popular Uncharted series, this 3D action platformer takes place on Wampa Island, a small fictional island off the coast of Australia. Playing as Crash, your task was to defeat the evil Dr. Neo Cortex and to foil his plans for world domination.
Crash, 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 why must you always muck in my mud?
A major part of the game was smashing crates, which contained Wampa fruit, Aku Aku masks,
What have I got?
and extra lives. The game was an instant hit, and Crash has now appeared in 18 different titles. The most recent game to feature Crash was Crash Bandicoot Nitro Kart 2, released on May 27th last year for the iPhone. Well, time to get back before I cause any damage to the space-time continuum!
I have to go.
That's incredible.
Okay, well,
Oh, hang on. I have to go. Hex is talking. Yeah. I see at the sandwich farm.
let's get into it with this one from Sunny in Arcadia, Queensland.
Just talking to Darren.
I just got my Xbox 360. I was wanting to know what would be a good game for me to get that has two-player because I have to share with my brother. P.S. Hex, you rock, and Bajo is a super noob, therefore Darren should laser him. Smiley face.
Hex, can I make a suggestion for next week?
Go ahead.
How about we don't read any more emails where they call Bajo a noob?
What about me?
Yeah, okay, you too.
What about Darren? Well, back to your question, Sonny. We definitely suggest any of the recent Lego games. They're great for co-op. Calm down. You can happily play by yourself and your brother can just jump right in whenever he wants. The game has a dynamic split screen too, which is really cool.
Castle Crashers on Xbox Live Arcade is good fun too and has up to 4-player co-op. And of course, Portal 2 has an amazing co-op mode. Also, you might want to have a look at some music games like Guitar Hero or Rock Band. They're great fun too with friends.
Well, those should keep you busy for now. So moving on to this one from, this one from William in Roxburgh Park, Victoria.
I was just thinking about what we said.
It's not that funny.
Oh, that's going on my blog. Hey, I'm a fan of Star Fox. Is there going to be a new one or a remake version of it? If so, can you please give me a sneak peek? Thanks. You are in luck, William. There's indeed a remake of the fantastic Lilat Wars from the Nintendo 64 coming out on the 3DS later this year. Let's take a look.
I've got somebody on my tail. Beautiful.
Hang on, guys. Help is on the way. I won't let you get away from me.
Moving on to this one from VIP in Adelaide, South Australia.
Do you know what VIP stands for?
What?
Very important profiterole.
No, it doesn't.
They're important though.
Please, I've been asking this all my life and starting to get to the tip of my sword, so my question is, every time I play online with my Wii, I always have only 1 bar of wireless internet, even if I have an ADSL 2 Plus and 500 gigs of internet. So, how and what can I do to have 5 bars of internet? And wish to work with yous if I can, please. Well, VIP, those bars represent the strength of the signal from your wireless network and have nothing to do with what kind of internet connection you have. So there are 2 things you can try. First, you can try and get a more powerful wireless router. Not all of them are the same, and some have much stronger signals, which should give you better reception.
A good quality router is important too. Your other option is to try and move your Wii closer to the router or put it somewhere with a better signal. You see, wireless signals get weaker with every wall they have to pass through. So the shorter the distance and the less in the way between your Wii and the router, the more bars of wireless you should have.
Well, good luck with it, VIP, but moving on now to this one from Howard in Sydney, New South Wales.
Is it true that you can hack the Kinect? Please, or I will be a nub equals noob at being a noob.
It sure is true, Howard, and this is what we'd call the good kind of hacking. It's possible to download a few drivers, plug your Kinect into your PC and hack away at it to make your own programs. And Microsoft have actually supported this by releasing the official drivers and a development kit to the public.
Yeah, and hackers have done some pretty cool stuff with it. One guy made it so he could control a robot. Another made it so he could make himself invisible, and some have even made robots that can find their own way around the world, to name a few. Very cool.
Well, moving on to this one now from Sonic Link Mario Pit in Sega Nintendo Victoria.
I'm so distracted. All I can think about is hacking the Hex.
I know, I've got to find these drivers. What
would we do? What would we make him do?
We could just make him do anything we wanted.
He could go to the sandwich farm and toast them all.
This is going great.
Everyone could eat forever.
I've been trying to get you to answer this like a trillion times, so please answer or else I will become a noob. Can you give me a bit of background history of Pit? You know, formed Super Smash Bros. I saw him there and he was awesome, so please answer me. P.S. Hex, you awesome. Bajo, you cool. And D.A.R.R.E.N is the coolest. Well, Pit is also known as Kid Icarus, and his very first game was called just that, Kid Icarus, released all the way back in 1986 on the original Nintendo Entertainment System. Interesting fact, it was developed by more or less the same team that made Metroid, at around the same time, and it even used the same engine.
He hasn't really had many games to himself though, with his only other game being 1991's Kid Icarus of Myth and Monsters for Game Boy. But he is getting a brand new game early next year, Kid Icarus Uprising for the 3DS. And other than his appearance on Super Smash Bros. Brawl, he hasn't really done much else.
Well, his new game is looking pretty cool though, so hopefully Pit makes a big return with that. Anyway, moving on to this one now from... this one from GameStar in Noobland, Queensland.
Help me! All my friends are noobs and think all the cool games like Minecraft, Zelda and Portal are all bad. So what should I tell them? P.S. Hex, your high five is great. P.P.S. D.A.R.R.E.N is a noob.
Well, thank you very much. At least someone's appreciating all my hard work.
Well, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. But those are generally considered to be some of the best games out there, so I'd say you're right and they're wrong, and you should simply tell them that.
I just looked down. I do not recommend it. I've just done it again.
Yeah, I mean, we're on your side. Your friends sound like a massive bunch of noobs. Maybe we'll pass this one on to D.A.R.R.E.N and see if he can teach them a thing or two. But, moving on to this one from Maxi Taxi in Rockhampton, Queensland.
Hi Hex, Bajo and D.A.R.R.E.N. Pretty please answer my question. Christmas and birthday depend on you. I am 4 and I love video games. What video games do you think I could play? I like Sonic and Peggle, but want something new. I can't read yet. What do you think would be good for me? Mum and Dad need some ideas. Maxi Taxi. Well, I have to say, that's some very impressive spelling from a 4-year-old who can't read, Maxi. Well done.
Well, hold up a second, Bajo. I'm guessing that a grown-up had a bit of a hand in that one.
Lies? Deception? Subterfuge?
Subterfuge.
Subterranean fuge?
Subterfuge.
Subterfuge. Who are you calling? Who are you calling,
Hello?
Hex?
Yes, I'd like to put my friend Bajo in for some elocution lessons. Yes, he can't say the word subterfuge.
Subterfuge.
I know. I know he keeps trying to say it, but he says like subterfuge. Hang on, wait, listen to this.
Subterfuge.
I know. All right. Oh, thank you. 6 o'clock? Okay, great. Thank you, bye.
I'm busy at 6.
Relax, Badge. Well, Maxi, without knowing what consoles you own, it's hard to say, but a good suggestion are the Mario games. They require very little reading, and they're big games too. Lots of hours of fun in those.
And if you like Peggle, then you'll probably enjoy some of PopCap's other games. I'm yet to meet someone who hasn't enjoyed Plants vs. Zombies, and it's not scary even for a 4-year-old. And of course, there's the usual bunch of games we'd recommend: Minecraft, any Lego game, Spore. They're all great for younger gamers.
All right, well, it's time for just one more quick one, and it's from Lachlan in... It's from Lachlan in, you know what, it doesn't matter where he's from.
Where are they from?
It's from, a place called, Warrnambool.
Excuse me for a moment.
I always get stuck on this one, it's not fair.
Oh, elocution. Speaking class?
Warrnambool?
Yeah, make that 2. Can we move to 6:15 though, because I've got a sandwich class at 6. Okay, cool, thanks.
Drat! Why is there an orange light on my Wii instead of a red light when it's turned off? Please answer, GGSP. P.S. You rock. P.P.S. D.A.R.R.E.N is a total noob.
That's an easy one. The orange light simply means you've got Wii Connect 24 active, which just means that even while your console is switched off, it can still download updates from the internet.
And you can easily turn it off in the system settings if you want. All right, well, that was super quick, but that's all we've got time for this week's Spawneroonies, and make sure you send more of those questions in here. Are you doing?
I'm just warming up for elocution classes.
Elocution.
Elocution classes?
Elocution.
Right, gonna beat you. gonna do much better.
Warren
than you
Amble.
because I'm doing the warm-ups.
Warren Bowl. Warren Nam. Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet follows the story of an adventurous alien who discovers a planet that's infected with a nasty sickness. So he seeks to eradicate the beasts that have taken over and effectively save the entire galaxy from suffering the same fate. You know, while I was at E3, this is one of the games I got to spend a little time with, and I thought it was really interesting. I was having a chat to one of the developers, and he was telling me that he really wanted to create a game that let you figure things out on your own and not hold your hand too much, and I really think they've achieved that.
Yeah, absolutely. I did find it a bit confusing at times, especially right at the start where you're just pushing buttons trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go and what I'm supposed to do, but I liked that. You feel suddenly quite alone in this shadowy, silhouetted environment, and it's quite exciting venturing out with not much going on.
Once you start exploring, you'll quickly figure out that there are certain weapons and pieces of equipment that you'll need in order to make your way through each area, very much in the style of Metroid. Your little ship is quite quick and easy to navigate, but without the aid of your ray gun or claw arm, you won't get far. The claw arm was one of the more functional adjustments to the ship's design. However, I believe a set of pasta scoops would have been a good improvement.
Well, I'm not sure this alien eats much pasta, Darren, but yeah, the claw arm is great. It allows you to maneuver certain pieces of the environment around you to clear a path for your ship to fly through. Often this means feeding rocks to giant worms which are in your way. It took me ages to figure that one out.
One of the first things you'll acquire is this mini ray gun. This shoots little bullets in all directions, which you'll guide with the right stick. It takes some coordination to navigate movement with the left stick and the ray gun with the right, while firing the right trigger, but that's what a good arcade game is all about, quick reflexes and coordination. The beasties you encounter in this game are plentiful and dangerous. Your first few encounters are fairly tame, but once you get into those narrow passageways, it's a whole other story. Flying balls of fire, angry bat-like creatures, plants that shoot sentient missiles that can dodge your bullets. You have to be fast, and your shots need to be accurate to make it through.
As you take damage, your little ship deteriorates, but thankfully little glowing balls of light will occasionally appear growing amongst the plant life, restoring your health bit by bit. Also, reaching checkpoints will completely restore your health. These checkpoints are fairly forgiving at first, but later on in the game things start to get really tricky, and often those beloved save points are just after a really treacherous zone.
Your other objective in the game is to seek out and locate parts to upgrade your ship. The areas in the world are rather maze-like, so hitting select will bring up a map which will point you in the right direction. It isn't as simple as locating these parts though. The puzzles you'll have to solve to get them are tricky and require some dexterous manoeuvring and shooting.
You'll continue to pick up more weapons to help you take on bigger and badder nasties, like a buzzsaw and a missile. And this one area required me to guide a missile through a winding tunnel without it exploding. I must have tried that a zillion times. You have to be so accurate with those thumbsticks to make it through.
And the ice level was where it all started to go downhill for me. Dodging that minefield of constant floating ice shards while solving puzzles with crystals and lasers just drove me insane. There's a lot to take on at once, and there's certain parts of this game which will take you multiple tries to get through, but that's great if you're up for the challenge.
I know the devs really wanted this game to not guide you through it step by step the whole way through, but I found some of those puzzles frustratingly difficult. You have a kind of info ray, which you can fire at objects and it will give you an indication of which weapon you should be using, but often that's just not enough information with some of the later puzzles. I would have liked a bit more of a hint system for those moments.
Agreed. I have to admit I had a few rage quit moments in this game.
Hex, you rage quit? That's the unacceptable behaviour of a noob! Charging my laser!
Darren, I mean, I kept coming back to it. It's just that sometimes I need to take some time out to calm down before I reattempt the puzzles. Oh, but that last area, I mean, who decided that having to bump around into walls in the pitch black was a good idea? And you have to use your claw to grab onto lots of stuff in this section, but because it's pitch black, you can't see what you're grabbing, so it makes for puzzles that you know how to solve, but can't see if you're solving them. And I mean, come on, I'm in a spaceship that has saw blades and grabby arms and lasers, but I don't have a torch or even a few lights.
You could learn a thing or two from me, see?
Oh, no, point taken, Darren, point taken! I found I struggled a bit towards the end of this game, where I found it more frustrating than fun. But I enjoyed the art and the sound design, so all up, I'm giving it 7.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I think if you're after a game to test your skills, then this is great, but maybe have a hunt around for something a little bit friendlier if you're a beginner, because Shadow Planet does require some experience. I'm giving it 7.
Well, sadly, that brings us to the end of another show for this week.
We've got a busy show planned for next week, though. You may have already heard about the Aussie-developed game Fruit Ninja for smartphones and iPad. Well, now it's made the jump to Connect, and we're going to see if it's just as much juicy fun.
And I'll be handing out badges to spawnlings who've mastered Polar Jumper and sent me a screenshot to prove it.
And we'll be reviewing the latest racing game, Driver San Francisco. Sandbox racing at its best, or at its worst. Maybe somewhere in the middle. Find out next week.
Till next time, gamers, may all your games be good ones. Hex out.
Bajo out.
D.A.R.R.E.N out. Are you coming down with a virus or something, Bajo?
Why would you say that, Darren?
Oh, you know, with the tissues.
I don't want to catch anything.
No, just sometimes when humans are sad, we leak fluid out of our eyes.
Darren, put up some kind of hygiene.
Charging my force field.
Maybe I'm coming down with something.
It's nice and hygienic on the side.
Affirmative. You keep your germs to yourself.
I will.